The convoy was already on the road when gunfire erupted from the trees on both sides. A carefully planned ambush was set into motion. The vehicles at the front were hit first, and then the rear. And within seconds, the disabled vehicles left the entire column trapped in a kill zone. By the time this fight was over, American forces would suffer and also inflict heavy losses. The attack took place along Minh Thanh Road, northwest of Saigon, in July 1966. U.S. forces were moving through an area known for heavy Vietcong activity, trying to disrupt enemy operations outside the capital. The road cut through dense jungle, terrain that gave the enemy every advantage, and that's where the convoy would run straight into it. The column had been moving steadily through the area, following a route that had been used before but was never considered secure. Convoy movements like this were routine, part of a broader effort to keep pressure on enemy forces operating near Saigon. The jungle stayed tight along the road, limiting visibility and making it difficult to see more than a short distance in any direction. There were signs of recent activity, but nothing that suggested immediate contact. The attack came without warning, cutting into the column before there was time to react. Automatic fire opened from concealed positions on both sides of the road, followed by rockets striking the lead vehicles. The forward movement stopped immediately. Moments later, the rear of the column was hit as well, sealing off any attempt to pull back. Infantry moved off the vehicles and into the tree line, trying to locate the source of the fire. But visibility was limited, and the enemy positions were well concealed. Fire was coming in from all directions, making it difficult to determine where the main force was positioned. Vehicles were damaged, men were down, and the column was struggling to reorganize under the sustained fire. Attempts to push into the jungle were met with continued resistance as enemy forces held their positions and maintained pressure. The situation had gone from bad to worse, and the column was stuck in place under heavy fire. The men would now be fighting just to survive. Unable to move, units began calling for support. Artillery was brought in on suspected enemy positions, followed by air support moving into the area. Strikes were directed into the tree lines along the road, targeting areas where the heaviest fire had originated. Under that cover, American forces attempted to regain control of the situation, reorganizing and pushing outward to relieve pressure on the column. The fighting remained close and difficult to control, with enemy forces continuing to engage from concealed positions before pulling back and reappearing elsewhere. Gradually, the volume of incoming fire began to decrease as supporting fires took effect and units on the ground stabilized their positions. The ambush had not been broken, but it was being forced back. As the firing slowed, U.S. forces began to secure the area along the road and assess the damage. Several vehicles had been hit, and casualties had been taken during the initial moments of the ambush and the fighting that followed. Enemy forces had withdrawn from the immediate area, leaving behind positions and equipment, but avoiding a decisive engagement once the situation shifted. The road was eventually reopened, and the column continued its movement, but the cost of the engagement was clear. Like many actions during the war, the fight had been sharp, close, and difficult to fully define. The enemy had struck, inflicted damage, and then disappeared back into the terrain.
I'm Douglas Sharp, and this is a field report from South Vietnam. U.S. Army units operating northwest of Saigon have come under heavy fire during a convoy movement along a jungle roadway. Initial reports indicate the column was struck by a coordinated ambush, with enemy forces engaging from concealed positions on both sides of the route. American units have returned fire and called in artillery and air support as fighting continues in the area. Casualty figures have not yet been confirmed.
After-action reports from the battle indicate the ambush left more than 20 American soldiers dead and many more wounded, with several vehicles destroyed along the road. While American forces took heavy casualties during the ambush, enemy losses were less clear, as units withdrew quickly back into the surrounding terrain. Several vehicles were disabled along the road, and units were forced to fight from exposed positions while under sustained fire. Enemy forces withdrew before a full engagement could be forced, leaving behind equipment and fortified positions. The road was eventually secured, but the cost of the ambush was significant.
The ambush on Minh Thanh Road was one of many engagements where U.S. forces operated in terrain that favored the enemy, facing attacks that developed quickly and often without warning. Control of the road was maintained, and the mission continued. But the conditions that made the ambush possible remained. And for the men on that road, the next movement would begin the same way, forward, into ground that they knew was never fully secure.
Just a number on a wall of stone, yeah. A faded picture on the mantelpiece back home. You were barely 19, so they'd say. Left that dusty town for a world so far away. Through the rain and the mud you kept on walking. Yeah, those memories still keep on talking. Through that jungle damp and humid heat, the chopper blades and those tired feet. You held your friends and you held your fear, counting every moment, wishing home was near. Through the rain and the mud you kept on walking. Yeah, those memories.
Hello. We here at Battle Docs would like to extend our thanks to the people who watch our videos. I think it's important that we remember these men and women who sacrificed so much for our country. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here. We'll see you on the next video.